All right, in this lesson, we're going to be looking at sales tax payable. So sales tax payable is something that maybe you are very familiar with. If you are in one of those jurisdictions or states that doesn't have sales tax, you might not know what we're talking about, but we're going to clue you in and show you how we book that into the books of a company who's collecting sales tax from their customers. So let's get diving into sales tax. So sales tax is a type of tax that is levied on the sale of goods and services. We are now seeing more and more services being taxed with sales tax. It used to be only on goods and not services, but because of how much services or non-hard good related sales there are, it's just an opportunity for states and local governments to collect more taxes, so they're taxing services more and more. Now, in the United States, sales tax is assessed at the retail value of the goods or services to the end users. So you might hear something called VAT, value added tax. That is in other countries a version of sales tax. But the way that that works is that every incremental step in the process of making the product is taxed, so that at the end of the day, all the tax has been collected by the time it's sold to that end user. Now, the end user is going to pay some type of VAT tax as well, but it's a little bit different. In the United States, that product is not taxed until it's finally sold to its third party or to its end user. So me or you, if we go to a store buying a product. So it works a little bit different than other countries, but basically if you're buying a good and you're using that good, you're going to be charged a sales tax. Now, if a business buys the good and then resells it to someone else who will then sell it to the end user, that business doesn't collect sales tax because they are not selling to the end user. They're just selling it as a middleman to another company who will sell it to that end user. So whoever uses it, that's when the sales tax is assessed at. Now, sales tax is collected by the end seller of the goods to the end user. So if I manufacture a product and I sell it to Best Buy, let's say, I'm not the end seller, so I'm not going to collect sales tax, but Best Buy is going to be the end seller because they're going to sell it to the end user. Sales tax is a liability to the company who collects them. The company will remit the sales tax to the government agency at an interval basis. So depending on what state you're in and depending on how much sales you do is going to dictate when that payment is made to the state or local government. As such, sales tax is not considered revenue to the company that collects it. They simply is just going to collect it and book a liability and then remit that cash to the state or local agency, whoever's collecting the sales tax. So remember, sales tax is not a revenue, even though it's collected by the company. So let's look at an example here just so that you know how it's calculated and then how we book it into our book. So assume company A sells $220,000 of product to customers during the month. The company collects sales tax in the amount of 8.25%. Prepare the journal entry for the sale of the good. Ignore the cost of goods sold at this point and assume all of the customers paid in cash. So first thing that we need to do is figure out how much sales tax we're going to have to collect on behalf of the local government or the state government when we apply an 8.25%. So to do that, we're going to take the sales amount and multiply it by this tax rate. So $220,000 times 8.25% gets us $18,150. So we're going to collect, or we have collected $18,150 from our customers in the for sales tax. So now the question is, what's the journal entry? So the first thing we got to ask ourselves is, how much cash are we going to collect? Well, we're going to collect our 220, and then we're also going to collect our 18,150 from our customers. So if we combine that, we get $238,150, and we receive that in cash. So if we receive it in cash, we are going to debit cash. So debit cash in the amount of $238,150. That's the 220 of sales that we received, and then the 18,150 from the sales tax. Now the question is, what's the rest of the journal entry? So how do we break it up? Well, let's start with the sales revenue. So we know what sales revenue is. It's 220,000. So we make a sale, we credit sales revenue in the amount of 220,000. So credit sales revenue for $220,000. And then the 18,150 is what's left. So 18,150 is what's left. And in this case, we are going to credit sales tax payable. So credit sales tax payable for that amount. Because it's a liability to us, we are just merely the middleman in this situation, and we're going to remit this amount to the state government or local government or whoever collects it at the end of the day. So that's how we would treat a sales tax. Now, notice that we've integrated the sales tax with the sales revenue. We could do a separate entry, but most often you're collecting the sales tax at the same time you are collecting the revenue. So typically we book that all into one entry unless we don't collect any sales tax, then we wouldn't have a sales tax line. Only put a sales tax line if the problem or question says to do so. Otherwise, if there is no sales tax, then just put debit, cash, credit, sales revenue, and you are good. Okay, so that is a look at sales tax payable. Again, very simple to really understand. We're going to collect additional money from our customers, and then we're going to remit that to the federal or state or local government. When we do that, it's not revenue to us, it is a liability, and all we're merely doing is collecting it on behalf of the government agency and then remitting it back to them. When we do pay, we're going to reduce the liability and credit the cash because we're going to write them a check for $18,150. So that is a look at sales tax payable. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. We'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure you press the like button below. And if you're looking for worksheets that go along with all of these lessons, head over to my website at patrickleemsa.com or clicking the link in the far right. And I've got your next lesson right over here. So just click that link and it'll take you to that video. So until then, we'll see you in the next lesson.